right, guys, we have come to the end of the trip. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for following along with Eric, Chase, and I on our holiday vacation here to Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Guys, we've had just the most amazing time, but today is actually our last full day. We head home tomorrow. We've gotten our COVID test back. Everything is good to go. And today we're just out here chilling. Before we headed out though, we said, you know what? We did this on the last trip. We've done this on trips in the past. We have to let Eric tip in here and give you his whats and whys and how-tos and what-fors on this Xcaret hotel. This place is amazing. I think I said in the very first video, I told you guys that this place really isn't a hotel. It's like a compound. Like, we are in the middle of the jungle and it is huge. So Eric's going to tip in here, guys, here in just a second and let you know all the things that you need to know before actually traveling and staying here at the Xcaret hotel. But we've had a blast. Looking forward to getting back home though, but we have just had an amazing time. And we both, Eric and I, want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your holiday vacation and hanging out with us.
We're back in Mexico. The last time we were here back in May, we actually stayed in the city of Cancun. We stayed at a wonderful resort in Cancun, just kind of a traditional hotel. It wasn't all inclusive, great resort. And then we came to the Xcaret Park and Recreation area via bus. So when we stayed in Cancun, remember Xcaret is about an hour and a half south. So we would take a bus pretty much every day back and forth from the hotel Cancun to Xcaret, which was great. No issues, no worries there. But as my wife mentioned, she is the hotel whisperer. So this time around, we actually decided to stay on property. We stayed at the Xcaret Hotel.
We are headed to our room now. Eric and Chase are up there with our guide. Because this place is, it's just massive. You can't find your room on your own. This is one of the many views. This is one of the many views over to our room, guys. How amazing. Look at that pool.
Which is adjacent to all the Xcaret parks.
On our boat, this is going to be our mode of transportation today over to the park. We're just floating through the jungles of Mexico. Don't mind us.
Don't mind us.
Happy holidays, guys.
Now, as we get into this, you know, the last time we were here back in May, to give people a frame of reference, because it can be kind of confusing when you go to the websites for Xcaret on exactly what it is, I kind of compared it to Disney World and really Orlando and Universal the last time we were here in May. I'm going to do that again in this video, and I think it's really appropriate now because something interesting has happened since we were here in May. Now we're back here in December. Something interesting has happened down at Disney World in Orlando. If you follow Disney, if you're a big Disney fan like we are, there's been a little bit of controversy about Disney price increases. There have been a lot of price increases in various areas, and it's not only the price increases, people are starting to complain about what you get for your money. Now, I'm not going to make this into a Disney video, a Disney bashing video. I'm not going to really give commentary on that. But what I do want to do is give you guys a little bit of perspective on some things that you can do that are maybe similar to that type of vacation, but an alternative. Because again, if you're dissatisfied with a product or service, you kind of need to speak with your wallet. So as a comparison, let's compare what you get at, say, Disney Yacht and Beach Club to what you would get by staying here at the two Xcaret hotels. So there's Xcaret Mexico and Xcaret Arte. Those are the two Xcaret hotels. So let's compare these two hotels to what you might get staying at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club. So just like Yacht and Beach Club are very similar, and that's why I'm using those as an example. Xcaret Mexico and Xcaret Arte are very similar. They're next door to each other. They're themed very similarly. The only difference is Xcaret Arte is adults only, it's 18 and over. Xcaret Mexico, which is where we're staying, is family, but they're both all-inclusive, beautiful, gorgeous resorts. If you were to stay in Yacht at Beach Club, for example, or any Disney deluxe resort, at this point, looking at current Disney price points, December 2021, which is where we're currently at, you're looking at upwards of $1,000 a night, easily depending on the room you get. And it can be even hard to find rooms that aren't booked up till July of next year, right? Here at Xcaret, we're paying about $1,500 per room per night. Sounds like it's a little bit more, but I'm gonna get into why it's actually not. Now, first, let's compare amenities. If you were to stay at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club, one of the advantages is you could take a bus or walk to the theme parks. Disney has 4 theme parks, obviously, 2 water parks, and then you can also make your way over to Universal. Here at Xcaret in Mexico, there are 3 on-property parks. Frumpy Mommy has left the chat. It is just Chase and I swimming through these underground caves. You hear Chase swimming next to me. Now, are there bats in these caves? Absolutely. We're just gonna float along and relax. Guys, look at what we're swimming through. This is crazy. Chase is up there swimming. This is wild, y'all. Look at this. This is all natural. None of this is staged, obviously. Swimming through the middle of the jungle. All right. As I swim through the swamp, or whatever this is, I'm trying to figure out what that large nest is. Maybe an abandoned beehive? I don't know. Haven't really seen a lot of bees or any bees, but it's interesting. I think we're getting towards the end of the river here. This has been a lot of fun. I actually had more fun doing it this time than the last time. This has been amazing. Yep, we're at the end. Let's look at the sign here. Xcaret, Mexico. Senses, Explore, and Xcaret, which is like the flagship park. That's like their version of Magic Kingdom. Is called Xcaret. And that can be kind of confusing if you get confused. So there's 2 Xcaret hotels and 1 Xcaret theme park, but they're all called Xcaret. So there's Xcaret, which is the main theme park, like the flagship, more of a water-based park, a lot of water activities, a beautiful beach. There is Explore, which is kind of the adventure park. Where you do a lot of zip lining. And then there's Senses, which is kind of like their version of Epcot. It's kind of a sensory overload type park where you see do a lot of cool sensory activities.
All right, let's see what this gives. I think we're gonna get drenched. Like, I can't stop.
Yeah, you can't stop.
Oh my God.
We're going downhill.
Oh, I'm not sure if y'all can tell. I gotta stop. It's like we're walking. Hola.
Okay. Are you gonna do the water activities, guys?
We're gonna do dry first.
Okay. Okay. The water activities are inside the cave.
Okay.
If you don't want to do the water activities,
Don't go in the cave.
Don't go in the cave.
Okay.
Have fun, enjoy, and come back.
Thank you. It looks like we are actually walking up a hill, but I don't know. It's like reverse. So instead of walking up, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. You know what? Instead of walking up, I feel like I'm walking down a hill right now. Yeah. Oh, and I'm dizzy. Oh God. Oh my God. Oh my, Eric. This is weird.
So honestly, guys, it's hard to describe the sensation on camera. It feels like you're falling because the whole village is tilted, and then you're also kind of going downhill, but you can't tell you're going downhill. It's weird. Like, it throws you off. But this is a lot of fun. They did a great job with this. There's also some adventure stuff there. So if you were to stay at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club, you've got all these resorts. If you stay at Xcaret, you've got access to 3 on-property resorts, and then there's like 7 other activities that are off-property. They have tours down to Tulum. There's a water park that's about 30 minutes south. So it's about a 1-to-1 comparison between what you can do in Orlando, the number of theme parks there, and what you've got here in the Playa del Carmen, Xcaret area. Now, I mentioned, this room is costing us about $1,500 per room per night. So that's not per person, that you're paying for a room. Let's talk about what you get in the room. The room is massive. Very, very big rooms. The hotel, gorgeous. The architecture, the way it looks. Again, if I were to compare it to a Disney resort, if I had to, it'd probably be more of an Animal Kingdom lodge look. So think of if you took the Animal Kingdom kind of Africa theming, but put a Mexico Aztec theming over the top of it. That's kind of how this hotel is laid out. And you'll see a lot of that in the footage. Gorgeous hotel. I lost count of how many pools and rivers. And a lot of the rivers, they're not man-made rivers. They're natural, lazy rivers. It's beachfront, so anything you have at Disney, you've got here. Now, a big difference that you get with that $1,500 a night, all the food inside the hotel is free. You'll never get that in Orlando, period. You won't get that at Universal, you won't get that at Disney. The most you can get is like a dining package, which is additional money. And even that, and I don't know if they've changed it recently. I haven't looked at the Disney dining plans recently, but I know even that could get kind of tricky because you had to deal with points. Let us know in the comments if you've gotten the Disney dining plan recently and it's changed. But I know back in the day, and we never bought it, but when we saw people that had it, it just seemed like it was kind of a hassle. So that was extra. Here, like a lot of Caribbean resorts, all the food is inclusive. But even more than that, the parks are included. So Senses, Xcaret, Explore, all the off-site stuff is included. So you don't have to buy any theme park tickets. They give you their version of a Magic Band. You get in and out of the parks with this. You can buy stuff with this. So think about the fact that, yeah, you might be spending a little bit more on the room. And sometimes that's not even the case, because if you're staying at like a Grand Floridian or a Polynesian, you might be spending $1,500 a night just on the hotel. So here, you're not only getting the hotel, you're getting the theme park tickets and all the food for one price. I do have, we can't be all positive. Here's the one.
Well,
and I won't
if it's
say
all positive,
it wouldn't
all
be true.
positive.
There is kind of one, I would say, not a negative, but you got to be aware of it. If you go to a Disney or Universal, you're going to have tons of staff and tons of signs and maps and even apps on your phone that tell you exactly where to go and what to do, what time everything starts, what everything is. Almost too much detail. You almost get too much information in Orlando. And that's actually one of the controversies at Disney. They got all these mobile apps where you got to overplan everything. Here, it's almost the opposite, where you really got to ask what's going on. You got to ask, is that the right bus to go to this theme park? What time does this show start?
But
How do I get here?
Could that be they're just trying to let everybody?
Well, they've said that. They've said, we don't want you
adult.
we don't want you guys looking down at maps or looking at your phone. So with that, just make sure you're headed in the right direction. Don't be afraid to stop and ask the staff what you need to be doing or where you need to be going. Because we got on the bus and we assumed it was the right bus to go to a particular theme park.
And we ended up in Tulum.
We ended up halfway to Tulum.
All right, guys. So we got on the wrong bus. We ended up in Tulum. Here's Eric here. So right now we are in a taxi. Chase is up in the front seat. We're in a taxi right now, headed back to Playa del Carmen. So the lesson here is, guys, if you stay at Xcaret, Mexico, before you get on any of the buses to head to the parks,
only took us an hour. We only lost an hour, but we
Yeah.
got on the wrong bus because we didn't ask.
You'll get lost out here, y'all. You were telling me the other day, Eric had kind of gone off and did a little exploring by himself right here on property and was accosted by 2 monkeys. 2 monkeys.
Yeah, they came right out of the
nowhere.
woods. This was not a theme park experience.
No.
I was walking down the trail.
Just on a
There's
trail.
spider monkeys. We'll put up a picture or something, but they're spider monkeys. They're native.
Somebody said it's a ringtail lemur.
We were right in that trash can.
Like, how do you know it was in there? And then he came back.
On the trail walking, and they came out, and there were other people around, so I wasn't overly scared. But
tell
it
him about
was
the deer.
that same about 2 minutes before that, a deer came out of the woods, which we see deer all the time at home. But this
Right.
deer was like extremely tame. He was walking up to people. He licked this one guy's arm. He was letting people pet him just out of the woods.
Just
Yeah.
out of the woods, it just come out.
So that was pretty amazing. But we've been comparing this to Disney. I would also compare it to like a natural park. If you ever go to like a Grand Canyon or something like that, just be aware you can get hurt out here.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing little ones, just watch them because
Yeah.
this has a national park vibe.
I liken it to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
When you go to the Grand Canyon,
It's beautiful.
there are not a whole lot of instructions.
Not a lot of guardrails.
Not a guardrail. You just, when you go to the Grand Canyon,
Don't mess
you
around.
know,
Yosemite, those parks, don't mess
I could die
around.
out here today.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And they have lifeguards and stuff. I would say it's halfway between going to a Grand Canyon and a Disney.
Yeah.
It's not quite the Grand Canyon, but it ain't Disney either. So let me summarize a little bit because we've said a lot. Basically, what we're trying to tell you guys is if you're going to Disney and you're spending, and it's easy, you can easily spend $5,000 up to 5 figures at Disney. It's not hard to do. If you're spending that amount of money at Disney, you should look at an Xcaret because it's going to be about the same price. Honestly, if you're flying to Disney, it doesn't.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did
Yeah.
you talk about the flight?
Yeah. So if you are flying, like it took us 2 hours to get here from Atlanta. East Coast of America, flying to Orlando, or Central, if you live in Texas, flying to Orlando versus flying to Cancun, not a whole lot of difference probably in the time. I mean, you do have to deal with passports and all that stuff, but the flights aren't going to be that much different. So you should really look at it. We still are going to do Orlando and Disney, but remember, for us, it's a drive. We're not going to all 4 theme parks typically, right? We've done that, been there, done that. But for those of you that you're staying on property, you're at Grand Floridian and you're trying to go to all 4 theme parks, you can get into the 5 figures easily. If you're doing that, you got to look at this. At least do a comparison on what you get for the money. Educate yourself. Look for an alternative. I'm not saying don't do Disney. I'm just saying there are alternatives out there. So that about wraps it up, guys. We will have the links for the Xcaret hotels.
Xcaret. Eric and I have been arguing the entire trip about the correct pronunciation.
It's Xcaret.
It's ish. But what do you
Xcaret.
like to say?
I say Ish sometimes. That's the Southern Mexican accent. Xcaret. We will have the link to the hotels below. Remember, there are 2 hotels. One's adults only, one is for everybody. And then the link to the website with all the theme parks and the tours. And they'll be right below, so check them out.